areas and give their recommendations to further improve law education in this country. I look forward to a set of useful recommendations as an outcome of this conference, which I would like to share with the Vice Chancellors and the National Curriculum Revision Committee at the level of the Higher Education Commission. Today, when I see so many lawyers in the hall, I recall the tragedy that happened in Quetta, where many lawyers, they lost their lives, and I lost some of my very close relatives in that tragedy. I must tell you, to help fill that gap, International Islamic University has played its role and is playing its role. We gave special seats to the students from Balochistan to support them to fill that gap. I wish the participants a very successful conference academically and socially. For those who have come from abroad and the other cities in the country, enjoy the beautiful spring season in Islamabad. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Pakistan Paindabad.
To the organizers of this university, Professor Dr. Masoom Yasin Zaisa, Professor Dr. Tahir Hakim Sahab, Professor Dr. Munir Ahmed Sahab, Professor Hafiz Dr. Justice Qazi Khalid, Dr. Qazi Khalid Sahab, participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. But before in biochemistry also there is a rule. There are laws how the various molecules behave. So maybe that astrologer of yours was not so inaccurate when he said that it be. देखिए कुदरत का कानून है तो ये सारे मॉलिक्यूल्स भी उस कानून के हिसाब से चलते हैं ना तो maybe he was accurate. Anyways, I think the parent law, our grand norm, is the law of Allah, the Holy Quran. And the first word of the Holy Quran is Iqra. Therefore, any emphasis, any support that this revered university of yours requires, I think the least said, jitna zyada kiya utna kam hai. So therefore, all of us as Pakistanis or anyone who is at all supporters of Pakistan, we must support a university of this stature, this nature. This has a very good name, I must confess. Even we as in the law ministry, whenever there is an advertisement for job seeking, and we have some very good students from your university. So we congratulate you, the effort involved. I must say one more thing, that whenever we are lawyers, we are talking of legal education, then there has to be emphasis on the language. Yeah. Whether it is the English language, whether it is Urdu, whether it is Arabic, whether it is any other language in which we are expressing the law, unless and until we have a command over that, there would be some lacking. And perhaps that was the reason why the Supreme Court of Pakistan invoked one of the articles in the Constitution saying that the court language should be Urdu. I or you may or may not agree with that. That is another debate. But all that I am suggesting and very, very respectfully stating is that in any curriculum of law, there has to be a separate topic, a separate subject, a discipline where the language of the law is also taken up by the educators. I very recently came across an article written by I think a group of students. There are 2 or 3 students in some Indian university teaching law, and they were like 2nd or 3rd year students. If you look at the merit at the level of the education, देखें जिसकी जो तारीफ है करनी चाहिए, लेकिन हम लोग भी पीछे नहीं हैं. The idea, the point that I'm trying to make is that I don't think we are lagging behind. The merit, the scholarship of this university and many other universities in Pakistan, Justice Qazi Khalid Sahib is here, he is also heading a law university, and the merit and the curricula that he offers, the programs, this university, you look at LUMS, you look at some of many other universities. Now there are private universities doing external London courses and so on and so forth. But we have to keep abreast with times. Like any other field, legal teaching, law teaching also requires that जो जिद्दतें हैं, जो नई चीज़ें हैं, जब तक उसका सहारा नहीं लिया जाएगा, then we will lag behind. And as far as law is concerned, there's one very important aspect of our society of Pakistan, which is my observation. Again, everyone has the right to agree and disagree, which is that in every field of Pakistani walk of life, there is emphasis on the law. Every government of the day, whether it is a democratic government or it is a military government, they require legitimacy from the court. It's a fact which is maybe not known in some other developing parts of the world. But in Pakistan, since we have a heritage, we have a very interesting but complex heritage. And that, either it is that heritage, or we as Pakistanis, we as Muslims, we believe in rule and the rule of law. And perhaps that is the reason why every one of us, we want a legal backing to everything. These days in the law ministry, most of the work of the government comes to us, to the law ministry, for endorsement whether the government is being run on lawful lines. I quote Nelson Mandela when he says, education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. And that is something, it holds good then, it holds good now, it will hold good for the future. And the reason is because the Holy Quran starts with the word Iqra. But the Holy Prophet said, Cheen bhi jana pade, us zamane mein Cheen bada dur hota tha. So therefore the emphasis on education, on legal education, वो जितना ज़्यादा emphasis दें उतना कम है. When we are, I was a student of law long time ago, and I had the privilege of studying in some of the good universities in the UK, and there I could see that the emphasis was not just to make the student learn. The idea was that the student would learn the ethos of a particular concept. And I think that is, if we as educators or teachers of law are able to inculcate into the student body the ethos of any concept, I think we make a very big contribution. In my humble opinion, the objective of any legal education would be, of course, to learn to have knowledge of the philosophies and ideologies, and to also know how we as lawyers can bring about a change in the society so that the society becomes a just society, where there are rights, and not just rights which are in the air, rights which are actually enforced, they are enforceable. As legal educators, as students, as professors, we should be able to identify problems and provide solutions. Some of the top universities of the world, whether you look at the Western countries or even in our own tradition, Al-Azhar is also one of the leading universities of the world. And therefore, the entire emphasis of any university of law has to be not just to give degrees to students, to make them realize that there is what is called an interaction between law and society, law and human rights. And unless and until that interaction is properly inducted into the student knowledge, I think any university of the world will not be doing what it should do. In any traditional curriculum of a law university, there are essay types of questions, there are issue spotters or problem type of questions, there is of course an open book, there is a closed book, there are exams, there are dissertations, and each one of these, the technique is different. Not only the technique of writing the answer to the question, for example, writing an answer to an essay, the technique is different from writing an answer to an issue spotter or a problem question. The technique is different if you are doing a dissertation. The technique is different if the dissertation is an LLM dissertation, an LLB dissertation, or a PhD thesis. But at the same time, the reading technique for all these is also different. I think no law school teaches these diversified techniques of how to attack these different types of questions or different types of studies, because all these questions are actually different types of studies. If there is a criminal law paper, the criminal law paper will have an issue spotter questions, and they could also have an essay type of questions. But if you compare a criminal law or a contract law paper with a jurisprudence paper, there is hardly an issue spotter type of questions in jurisprudence. So in other words, what I am saying is that for each type of question, the study is to be different, the technique of answering the question is different. But at the same time, one cannot emphasize on comparative law. We must be aware of what is going on in other parts of the world. We must know what is going on by way of legislation, lawmaking, by way of judgments of the courts from other countries of the world. Because knowledge knows no boundaries. In the end, I congratulate this university, the faculty, and if there is any support which you require, any guidance, help, assistance, whatever the nomenclature, semantics you want to use, the law ministry, the law minister, the prime minister, they're all there to help you out. Thank you very much, Pakistan.
Your support as well. I will now invite Professor
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, Acting President Sahab, Dr. Munir Sahab, Khawatine wa Hazrat, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. पहले रब्बुल इज़्ज़त का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि बेड़ा उठाया। हमें इस पर फ़ख्र है कि हमने इस अहम मौजू पर इल्मी मुबाहसा के लिए अहले इल्म को एक छत के नीचे जमा किया और जो बातें सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट की वजह से ज़बान खल्क पर आम थी उनको आगे बढ़ाया। मुअज़्ज़ज़ सामईन, लीगल एजुकेशन की हमारी ज़िंदगी में क्या अहमियत है, उसकी क्या ज़रूरत है, इसके लिए जानना काफ़ी है कि कानून की तालीम से ही हुकूक़ का तयन और तहफ़्फ़ुज़ मुमकिन है और इस पर अमल करने से मुआशरे में अमन, इत्मीनान और सुकून की ज़िंदगी मैसर आ सकती है। अगर ये तालीम न हो, अगर इस पर अमल न हो तो फिर कदीम जाहिलियत या जंगल के कानून का राज होगा, ताकतवर कमज़ोर को खा जाएगा, हुकूक़ गस्ब होंगे और इज़्तिराब, बदअमनी, बेचैनी और अदम तवाज़ुन का दौरा होगा और अमन, सलामती और तरक्की का ख्वाब अधूरा रह जाएगा। किसी भी मुआशरे की तरक्की का पैमाना उसके अफराद की कानून से आगाही और उस पर अमल करने से उजागर होता है। रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने जब रियासत मदीना की बुनियाद रखी तो उस ज़माने के मुताबिक लीगल एजुकेशन का अहतमाम फरमाया। कई सहाबा की इस फील्ड में तालीम व तरबियत फरमाई, जिनमें हज़रत अली रज़ी अल्लाह ताला अन्हु, हज़रत मुआज़ इब्न जबल, हज़रत अबू उबैदा, अबू मूसा अल-अशअरी।
Request Dr. Azizur Rahman to please present the shield to Professor. I would request Professor Dr. Muhammad Munir